everybody, and welcome back to Ursa Minor Sewing. Today we're going to be working on the underskirt. I'm going to show you how to sew all of the rings of the peasant skirt together and get it all going for the embroidery we're going to do later. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm just going to demonstrate with these pieces. These are those funky pieces I showed you how to draft, well, back in the skirt drafting video. And these two are my back, and these two are, this one here is my front. I cut it on a fold. And all you need to do, it's pretty straightforward. Oh, I didn't cut my notch on this one, just a sec. Okay, so all you need to do is just pin this. Now remember where this is our center back here. You got to remember that for one thing. You're going to pin this to nope. Wait. Okay, so you need to pin these right sides to right sides, or sorry, with right sides together. My head's all full of nastiness right now, so forgive me if I get my terms wrong. You're just going to pin them together. Now, because these ones were drafted from a pattern or traced off of a pattern, this seam here is 5/8 of an inch, but all of your other rings are going to be 1/2 an inch seams. And just rub it. And then do the other side. And if you're noticing that one piece might be a little longer than the other, don't panic. You can just give that a little bit of an ease and a trim just by distributing it. Now remember, this section is going to be the part that your zipper goes into, so you actually want to sew a little bit of it on the bottom. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to run a seam along the bottom here that's about, maybe 2 inches long, just to kind of indicate where the zipper is going to go when all is said. And there's your first ring, and you're going to sew all of your rings together like that, with the exception of at the back seam. Rather than leaving it open like this, you're going to sew it right up the back. And all of your seams for your other rings are 1/2 an inch all the way around. So I'm going to go take care of that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now we're going to work on the bottom hemband, and here I have my center front piece. And you basically going to work it the same way you work the other rings, only you've got more pieces to work with. I'm just going to, excuse me. You're going to take it and just lay them on top of each other and line up the seam lines. And just to make sure that I don't get confused which one is my front, I put a little notch in the middle, but I didn't notch the other ones. And these ones are 5/8 inch seams because we traced these off of a commercially made pattern. Okay, so just line them up as best you can. I'll take care of the rest of this here and show you what it looks like at the end. So here it is, sewn together as a loop. And I've pressed open all of my seams all the way around. Did the same with the other one that isn't interfaced. This is going to be your lining piece for the ring. Now what you need to do is, with right sides together, you need to sew these two rings together along the bottom edge. Where's my front? Oh goodness, there it is. Okay, so just line these up. It's best to pin them at the seams first. And I'm going to pin them along the top just at the seams, but along the bottom I'm going to use a lot more pins. So once you've got it all pinned together and all your edges lined up, you just need to run your regular 5/8 inch seam all the way around. Just pick a seam allowance and go for it. So once you have that bottom edge taken care of, you just have to press it flat or press as sewn, press it open, and then flip it inside out and press that edge closed. And you've got something that looks like this. So now let me show you how to assemble the rest of the rings of the dress. Okay, so attaching the rings is pretty easy. You don't have to do this with the top ring, but with ring 2, 3, and 4, you need to run some gathering stitches along just one edge. And all you gotta do is, I've got rings 1 and 2 here, so you're gonna take ring 1 and you're going to line up the back seams. So on ring 1, that seam should be open. So you're going to line up the gathered edge with the bottom edge of ring 1. Like that. And then you're going to find the middle of ring 1. There's my notch right there. And the middle of ring 2, there's my notch there, and just line those two notches up and pin. Now you just have to go through the process of gathering, and my recommendation is to gather one side then the other versus just using one thread to do all the gathering. So I'm going to go take care of the gathering and I'll be right back. Okay, so I got a little ahead of myself because I completely forgot where I had left off filming. So I gathered the top portion of piece 2 and attached that seam line to the bottom seam line of piece 1. So in order from top to bottom you go 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then I sewed a 1/2 inch seam allowance after gathering and pinning everything in place, making sure that my gathers were evenly distributed around the skirt. So here I'll show you what I did. Okay, so here is the top edge. This is piece 1, piece 2, piece 3, piece 4. And only the upper edges of each piece have been gathered, with the exception of piece 1. You're going to cartridge pleat that, but I'm going to show you how to do that in a different video. So yeah, you're going to gather your edges, line up your markings to make sure that everything is sitting where it's supposed to be sitting, gather it, evenly distribute your gathers,
sew a 1/2 inch or whatever seam allowance it is that you have allotted for your skirt. Once you finish sewing, you're going to press the seam allowance up, okay? And it's going to give you this nifty little stacked look. You'll press that seam allowance up and steam the skirt out. I'm going to have to do that later, but if you have a steamer or have access to a steamer, steam it out. If you don't, put the dress on or get somebody else to put the dress on and then just give it puffs of steam with an iron. Just try not to get it too close to yourself. And that is the skirt.
So that's the basics on how to put together the underskirt for Princess Peach. It's not quite done yet. We still have to do the applique work and put on the bottom white banding, which I will show you how to do in the next couple of videos. Next up on the schedule is to put together the overskirt portion. So until next time, happy sewing, guys.